Is like a topic I enjoy looking into, kind of a conversation that some people either really enjoy having and some people just don't find any value in it, like reading about like the signs and like what sort of characteristics or like traits that they have, just because I find it super interesting, especially when you meet people that are signs that do have the traits that are synonymous with them. I'm a true like through and through Scorpio. Like I don't think I could suit any other sign better. Like all of the traits that are, like Scorpios are meant to have, I literally have them. And I'm kind of like, I'm ride or die for Scorpios. Like I think we are, and I am biased, but I think we are the best sign, and I think there are so much more layers to Scorpios than kind of what's perceived, and I quite like that we kind of have this like inner secret, that we have the ability to be able to tell as much or as little as we want, and people kind of take it for what it is. Geminis, for example, like they obviously are synonymous with being like two-faced, so you could meet a Gemini and they could be like the sweetest person ever, and I have a very, very close friend of mine who's a Gemini, and we just hit it off so quickly, and she is incredible, and she's like doing bits and stuff, and I've never seen the sort of like the two-faced side that they're synonymous to have. Figuring out, I enjoy figuring out what signs people are by getting to know them, or if they do let on early on what their sign is, and then obviously trying to see what traits they carry. Like I find that all so fascinating. I wanted this kind of topic just to be about Scorpios because, like I said earlier, I think we get such a bad rep, and I feel like those are kind of made out to be the bad guys, whereas I think we have such a tough exterior, but at heart we're probably one of the nicest ones, and we definitely are the ones that carry so much of an emotional burden, feel so much more than we let on, and that's definitely something that I personally feel is one of my strongest traits. Like I feel everything so intensely, like good and bad. Like if it's a situation where I like someone, like I really like them, like I will move mountains for them, and I will buy extravagant gifts, or just try and show them that they are on some sort of pedestal to me. The satisfaction that comes with having feelings for someone, and kind of being excited by their presence, just being able to immerse yourself in them, like that's all such a nice thing to experience. And being a very naturally introverted person, and holding a lot of cards to my chest, it's quite nice when you find someone that you kind of want to let them explore the sort of person you are, and kind of learn what you like and what you don't like, and what you consider like things that are valuable to you, and opinions that you have that you haven't shared with anybody else. We do hold love to such a high regard, not allowing yourself to be moulded by someone. We want to make someone happy, and we will do whatever it takes to do that. That's not an issue for us. Like if it means that we have to sacrifice something to allow someone to know that we truly love them, we'll do it. That's just I think Scorpio nature, which I really love, because if I'm not doing it with someone that isn't necessarily romantic, I'm doing it for family, doing my all to ensure that I feel like I've given back appropriately. And that I think kind of goes hand in hand with being loyal. Like Scorpios definitely have their trait of being loyal as fuck. Like we are ride or die bitch. Like it takes so much to lose me as a friend. I'll argue with you till the sun comes up, or we'll have a disagreement on something, but my love and my loyalty to that person will not change. But then it's a situation of, if it gets to that point where we don't talk anymore, or the trust is kind of gone, like it's so hard for me to kind of get it back. Like I could forgive you, and I could be at ease with that situation, and I have found closure, but it would be very hard for me to allow myself to be in that situation again. I don't want to be vulnerable, and I find it hard to kind of forget the sort of feelings that I've had to process because of that. Sometimes, like, especially like Cancer, whatever, they're very forgiving people, and there's an element of you can have several chances before you know, they kind of hit their limit. And Leos are very much the same, where you know, when we're burned by a flame, you know, we're very reluctant to go near that flame. We're a one chance saloon. A lot of where my strength comes from, because I have been put in situations where I have to test the loyalties. With that, you know, kind of being such an emotionally charged person, and you know, feeling things so intensely, it's like, if that, you know, boyfriend or that friend is you know, making me feel some type of way, then, you know, I can just tell that that's what a person would be crumbling in front of me, because I know that's damage that they can't undo. And, you know, trust is so important to me. But when I first meet someone, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I do give them everything, because I want them to know that I'm sincere and I'm genuine. It's a case of where that is being questioned, or that you know, my motives aren't positive or genuine. It's super disheartening to me, and it does, you know, make me upset, because I want people to know that I'm a good person and I'm not, you know, malicious or nasty, and that I wouldn't ever want to, like in the last video where I was talking about, you know, the bullying situation. Like, I don't ever want someone to be feeling sad, and being in that situation and being put in that sort of emotional state is something that I never want anyone else to go through. I'm human, you know, and I do obviously say things, and I do make mistakes, and you know, I will do what it takes to make that right again. Like, that's, you know, how I think everyone should be. Following on for that, like, another 2 points that kind of go hand in hand with that. I am honest, sometimes too honest. Not that I'm honest to a point of being rude. I've said something without it being, you know, asked for. But if somebody, you know, was putting enough trust in me to ask me about my opinion on a relationship or a certain state of, you know, something that they're questioning, or, you know, like if they needed someone to help them make a decision, like, I would be honest. I would be brutally honest, because I would want them to know that if they had trusted me enough to ask for my opinion, that I would give them the respect to be entirely honest. I think it's very true that a lot of people would rather be, you know, scorned by the truth than comforted by a lie. You know, in time they would thank you, because you're not allowing them to become a fool, or to be, you know, pulled further along than, you know, what they deserve. With me, it's like, I am quite, I mean, me personally especially, I'm not sure if it's like the same for anyone else, and obviously other signs definitely can be, you know, in the same to some degree, but I'm quite a deep person. Like, I like having, you know, real conversations with people. Like, I enjoy small talk, and I enjoy, you know, getting to know the basic structure of someone. But, you know, it is definitely attractive to me, and it definitely is, you know, something that I enjoy in a friend or a potential, or in a partner. I want to know how people's minds work, and how they feel about something, or what drives them as a person. Like, all of that stuff is endlessly fascinating, and something I really enjoy learning about. Things like that I find so intriguing about people, and I love reading people. When I go out, like out, and I go to the club, like, if I'm not, you know, lit AF and like having, you know, the best time of my life, then I am kind of reading people around me, and I think that can be sometimes perceived as like being, you know, cold or disinterested, because I obviously look like I'm kind of looking everybody up and down, but it's not. I'm kind of more, I'm reading and fascinated by people, and I like people watching. Like, I love kind of seeing how humans interact, and how, you know, people that are so much more confident than I am, they're just fearless, and they, you know, go into things without hesitation. Like, I love learning how people do that. I think that is very much a big Scorpio trait, because it's like we enjoy psychology of it all, and I think Scorpios get such a bad rep because, you know, we're told that we're manipulative, or, you know, that we always have such an emotional guard. We will have those conversations, and we will, you know, share really big lessons and secrets in our lives if somebody shows a genuine interest. We like being mysterious, but not to the point of that people think we're nasty, because we don't want to be, you know, perceived as cold-hardened people, because we do feel everything, and we do especially have a lot of love to give. We just have to find someone that we feel that we can truly invest that. When it comes to love and stuff, like we do like to read into situations. We don't like games, and we definitely don't like the sort of emotional tug of trying to figure out whether someone likes you or not. Like, we are very straightforward people, and if you're about it, then you're 100% about it. We're all or nothing. We're very black or white. Like, it's kind of, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna give 100%. It's not always a positive thing, and I know that it can bring out some sort of like ugliness in people. We are possessive and we are jealous lovers. Like, we will not want someone else to be showing all their affections to someone that we, hold a candle for. Like, if we're, in a club, and, obviously I would like to think that people would be, appreciative of the man that I've, been lucky enough to have a relationship with, but to a point of that I would allow some sort of, gesture of appreciation in terms of, trying to chat them up or, compliment them. But when it gets to the point of where I feel like a boundary is being crossed in terms of, touching more than necessary, or, you can just tell by someone's body language when they're obviously interested, and I probably, have something to say, because it's like, what's mine is, I don't like to share. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say that I could be a chill person in that sort of situation. I would never go up to that person and make a scene. Like, that's not the person I am, but I would, quietly brood about it. I'd probably politely kind of interject the conversation and announce my status with that person and be like, we are a thing, so if you'd like to,
back off.
But, I'd never do it in such a way that it would cause, offence, or that the person felt that I was, unjust towards them. I would just kind of, give them a little bit of attitude, because, sometimes that's necessary. Like, you kind of need to, own what's your...
So out of breath, like I talk so much.
I would find it quite sexy if I was dating a guy, and if the situation was on the other foot, where, we were out and a guy was obviously laying it on a little bit, and, I was being polite enough to, thank them and reply, that my guy would probably get his back up a bit. Obviously, you can be secure and jealous, but that he's not willing to let you go. Like, I think that's quite hot. But, that's just, not for 1 minute would I ever allow, myself to ever be owned by someone, or to feel like I'm property of someone. Like, that will never, ever be a case. Like, I love going out and earning my own money. I love knowing that I have, power at the table, and I would never allow myself to kind of suppress that for the happiness of a man. Like, if a man was, expecting me to play second fiddle and to not have an equal stake in the relationship, then that's not a relationship for me. Like, I personally love structure. I love kind of having it, an itinerary for the day, and I like knowing where I need to be at what time exactly, and, I can do spontaneous, and I push myself to be more spontaneous, but I do admittedly find comfort in knowing that, I know when I need to be somewhere at what time, and I know what the week holds ahead for me. Like, it's kind of, it allows me to mentally prepare for that. Along with structure and routine comes working relationships, and my work ethic and how I view work. Like, I'm extremely driven. I'm very ambitious. Like, I have very high standards set for myself. So when it comes to work and stuff, I will give 120%, because I don't want them to question whether I'm capable, or if I'm, the right person. And, I'm driven by trying to exceed my own successes, and when I make a mistake in a relationship, or a mistake at work, and they do happen. Sometimes you can't avoid them, and you fuck up. You're a human. Do you know what I mean? It's we can't always be perfect, but I strive to be as close to that as possible, and it is extremely draining. But that's kind of just how I'm wired. I think Scorpios kind of have that. Like, we we enjoy having power, and we enjoy having a voice that holds weight, and we enjoy pushing ourselves, but it also comes at a price of that if we are meeting what we consider, you know, that criteria, that we're very hard on ourselves. And I think that's why we kind of come off as cold, like away from the situation. Like we're not always super fun and super like giddy, because, you know, we've got a goal in our head and we have a plan of action on how to get there. And, you know, sometimes that just takes over and you're not necessarily thinking about other people around you. You're kind of thinking like, I need to get to this target, and so I will, you know, use all of my energy and all of my, you know, thought space to ensure that that is, you know, the direction I'm heading in. I enjoy that sort of little bit of fire that I have. Do you know what I mean? It kind of, it's something that I celebrate. You know, being a Scorpio and kind of, you know, our signs being Scorpions, it's kind of like, I love that we have that sort of, you know, element of danger, and, you know, I really embrace that. I can kind of be part of such a fearless group of people. I would love to know what your signs are and what, you know, traits that you really celebrate. I'm a Scorpio for life, baby. It's very that.